And I got married very young, at 19. And I did not go to college, which is a regret of my life. But at that point in life, it was never like going to college would have been first. It was not encouraged. So I had a child at 19. And I was married for 25 years. I did not work at that point. A year later, I had another child. I didn't work then. I never went to work until my third child was about 5. My husband owned a music store, a complete music store with pianos, organs, band instruments, violins, and I managed the sheet music department. When we went apart, then I didn't go back to work there. I mean, he worked, he had a job, and he worked and provided. However, had I wanted to go to school at that point? It's interesting you ask that, because when my last child went to school and I was working, oh, I know what happened. My last child went to school and I said, I think I'll go to college. And he said, well, why don't you come to work? And looking back on it, I think he probably liked where I was. And then I changed, and that's when life went apart. You know, I outgrew where I was, so to speak. Looking, I don't know that he wanted me to do that and become the independent woman, which I did anyway. I don't think we talked about it enough. I don't think, it was not. He said, well, why don't you go to work? So I said, okay. Instead of being assertive about it and saying, well, I think I want to go to school more. I didn't say that. And I don't know at that point if I could have gone without his support, if that makes any sense. I don't know that I was strong enough to do it had he not given me support. I was very respected. I did 30 years of real estate, and I was known throughout the area as a good realtor. And I achieved many awards, and so it wasn't, but the college didn't really make a lot of difference in this sort of thing. However, it would have made me different. It would have made me feel more powerful. But it's not power, that's a bad word. But you have the will, the desire, and the demeanor to present that to the world.
I enrolled in Winston-Salem Teachers College, which is now Winston-Salem State University, where I stayed until in my senior year, thinking I was in love. I married. As a result, that was not completed. However, after leaving the college, I shortly after that married. Being unprepared, as I should have been, had I remained in college, it would not have been so very difficult, and yet it wasn't for me in my age, in my situation, not as much so as it was, of course, for my parents and my grandparents. I think I had one little maybe 6-month or 8-month job at a jeweler's in Winston-Salem. I was only allowed to clean the jewelry, clean the silver, keep the counters dusted, things like that. The fact that I had had college education meant not a thing. I was not, they thought, I guess maybe honest enough or qualified to handle the books, the accounts, things like that. So therefore, I was hired as maybe you would say a maid, and it was a downtown Winston-Salem jeweler. After leaving Winston-Salem, I came back to Durham, which is my home. And I started work for North Carolina Mutual Life Insurance Company. Their best, and of course, I'm going to say that, I'm prejudiced about it, but it is a life insurance company. It was black-owned and operated.
The world's largest Negro business, the North Carolina Mutual Life Insurance Company, a multi-million-dollar enterprise operated solely by and for Negroes.
And from that point, that date, to 36 years later, I remained employed there. It was a very wonderful experience. Of course, I'm working for blacks. I am black. I was able to handle the books, the accounts, the money for thousands of people in a life and health insurance business. But yes, I went into my marriage like most young women. I wanted to be a mother. I wanted to be a good housewife. Yes, I wanted the same as any other young woman. But none of that worked. I did not have a good marriage, and I just had to work to take care of myself.
I was born on a tobacco farm in Pitt County in North Carolina. As soon as I could get a work permit, I went to work at the hospital as a certified nursing assistant. And I was 15 because I hated farm work. And so I worked on weekends and holidays at the hospital. And when I graduated from high school, I went into nurses training. I went to work at the hospital, and then I went into nursing school. And I got married before I had been in nursing school a year, and I got married. My husband and I had one date. We got married on the second date and headed for California. He was in the military. We stayed in Sacramento for a year, and then we went to Biloxi, Mississippi. And from Biloxi, Mississippi, we went to Anchorage, Alaska. I went to work at the St. Mary's Hospital in Anchorage, Alaska. I went down and applied for a job, and the nun said, "Do you think you could pass the certification test to become an LPN since you didn't finish nursing school?" And I said, "I don't know." And she said, how about if I proctor you? And she did, and I passed. So I went to work at the hospital as a licensed practical nurse for a duration of our stay in Anchorage. He was in the military for 22 years. When he retired, he was in his 40s when he retired from the military. And we were in Goldsboro. And I decided to go back to school. And he said, "You have 1 year to do something." And so I went to school at Wayne in Goldsboro and became a dental assistant. And I worked for 30 years as a dental assistant.